So I just want to touch upon something among this whole pandemic plague, whatever the heck you want to call it. And yes, the thing is blinking. I thought I fixed it, but I didn't quite. But here's where my inner libertarian has been kind of smashing his head against the proverbial wall. Tread lightly. We realize these are times like we haven't seen before. But among our fear, we're seeing a lot of authoritarian response. A lot of folks are justifying this because, well, if this is more or less, as the president literally said, a plague, there are certain things where, okay, we can get why you're trying to do it, but again, that's why the vast majority of this needs to be voluntary as well. Everybody needs to step up together to help deal with this menace right now. It's just when you start hearing about stories about literal folks in like the state police and or National Guard looking for New York refugees, that's not something I really ever in my mind thought I would truly be saying, at least in this lifetime. These are very concerning times, so again, tread lightly. Have we violated the Constitution before in the past? Yes, we have. Often do not the greatest of effect. But here's the thing. We are watching. And when this is over, when we get through this, we're going to remember what folks did. And again, yes, we have rights in our countries. But at the same time, rights come with responsibilities. And I believe it was a wise man that once said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I think this applies real well here. Let's just pop into this real one right here. Yes, the National Review. So Virginia governor orders residents to stay home until June 10th. So basically, this Governor Northam over there, he said, I want to be clear, do not go out unless you need to go out. This is very different than wanting to go out, the Democratic governor said, announcing the order. So basically, this is announcing it. So basically, you're standard things. If you need to go to the grocery store, this, that, or the other thing. If you are sick and you need to receive treatment, if you need to go out for like a walk or something. Okay. Now, here's the thing. That's till June 10th. So that's literally like about a month, a little less than a month and a half away. Yes, Maryland governor describes stay-at-home orders as one of the last tools in our arsenal. This is brought to us by CNN. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan on Tuesday called the stay-at-home order he issued this week one of the last tools in our arsenal in an effort to slow the spread of the coronavirus in the state. Here's the thing, because you know what comes next. And we don't want to do that. But here's the thing. If we are potentially talking about upwards of 250,000 Americans losing their lives, I mean, if we're going to err on humanity, we're going to err on humanity, man. That's the big thing. Yeah. Now, I believe this was the order where, and again, maybe I missed it in the article, but I believe Maryland was the state that the order didn't actually have an expiration date. Now here, Governor Baker in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, what he does, he extended it to April 30th. He's being straight up. Is it a ratcheting up? Yes, it is. But folks are seeing what's happening in New York. People have seen what's happened in Italy, in Spain. We've seen what happened in Wuhan province. And it's terrible. So we've made these decisions. This is the path we're going down. So let's do our best to try to get through it. But as you can see, this actually does look to be a bit stricter than some of the other states I've seen. Under Maryland's stay-at-home order, residents are only allowed to leave their homes for essential reasons, such as visiting grocery stores, pharmacies, to exercise or seek medical attention. It's also enforced by law enforcement, and those who violate the order could face a misdemeanor and be jailed for up to 1 year or fined $5,000. This article a couple of days ago. Yeah, we've definitely gone past that now, I believe. As well as we had the stay-at-home issue fair from, I believe this is from an actual more local area here. As you can see, they have the more up-to-date information, and I believe in here as well. Yeah, I didn't see anything about the order being lifted. So this is basically throughout this crisis, because I believe they likely declared a state of emergency. I'm not sure if the governor over there has asked for a major disaster declaration. I know New York, Governor Cuomo over there, as well as over in California. I forget the gentleman's name, my apologies. But I believe they both put in for a major disaster declaration, which opens up additional federal funding as well. I know Governor Baker over here did that. I believe he signed it on, I think, Thursday. I believe it was approved on Friday of last week. People can kind of understand this, but his where it really starts getting into a muck. Yeah, so as we can see here, Tampa pastor arrested for defying virus orders, closes church due to tyrannical government. This is where I start really having issues. Okay, when I first heard this, and I'm hearing, oh, it's a mega church pastor and everything. As you can see, Pastor Rodney Howard Brown was arrested for violating public health emergency orders. He's closing his church, but not because he changed his mind about the dangers of the coronavirus. Apparently, Mr. Howard Brown, he had basically come out, and I believe he kind of was downplaying it. I mean, many folks were. You're going based upon the information you have at the time, and you're seeing what's actually happening on the ground now. Now, at first I'm like, okay, is he just having a full jam-packed congregation? I don't know. If he was, well, it doesn't seem like you're applying any social distancing guidelines. He basically says one of the reasons he had it was to basically stand up and kind of just make sure the authoritarianism that he was concerned about doesn't take hold, basically as a bit of a protest there. Now, you can say health-wise, that was a very poor decision. But apparently, at least at the bottom of the article, where was it? It was right around here. Okay, so Howard Brown is being represented by a right-wing organization, Liberty Council, which the Southern Poverty Law Center says promotes discrimination against the LGBTQ community. I mean, I'd say that's kind of poisoning the well at the same time, but then again, I mean, is it relevant? If folks are flowing within the same groups and stuff, it's like, okay, people are going to have questions. I mean, if that's not the case, if you probably have a pretty good answer, but again, that doesn't seem necessarily relevant in this. But in a statement issued after the arrest, Liberty Council said that the church enforced the 6-foot rule, staff wore gloves, and had spent $100,000 on a hospital-grade purification system, quote-unquote. I have no idea if any of that is true. Again, this is the statement. I mean, if this is the case, you'd have the receipts. If that was the case, I'm assuming that this photo further up here is not from that time, because, well, he doesn't seem to be wearing gloves. Are people 6 feet apart? It's kind of hard to tell. I don't think it was from that day, but nobody else really seems to be having gloves. And the reason why I say this is because, here's the thing. Freedom of religion to peaceably assemble, that's protected under the Constitution. And it sounds like the governments are doing these rules again. That's why these are states of emergency. Basically, we're in quote-unquote wartime right now. Listen to the president's rhetoric. Listen to a lot of folks' rhetoric. It's literally a battle against the unseen enemy. Now, if you're going to take it like that, guess what? You don't necessarily have all the freedoms you normally would. I don't like this. It really bothers me. But, okay, is there not some form of reasonable accommodation? Because here's the thing, they say essential services. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of folks who would tell you that God in their daily life is an essential part of their lives. Now, if we have the ability to leverage technology, I think that's a more optimal route at this time. If you could have large-scale services. I mean, I've taken part in a couple like little dance parties and stuff. I mean, it's fun, man. It's that sense of community. And the thing that bothers me is you're putting a man of God in jail. You might not like the dude. You might not like the things that come out of his mouth. But if we're going to hold by principle here, And this actually harkens back to, I was speaking to a young lady in Canada the other day, and she happens to live next to a mosque, and apparently there were some services going on, and an individual came from like down the street or something, says, "Oh, well, we heard they're having services and stuff in there and everything," and he was kind of angry, this particular individual. I'm assuming he, my apologies. But apparently this individual then went in there, saw that basically everyone was keeping their distance, and it wasn't a jam-packed mosque. How is that different if that is the case? Here's the thing. I'm not sure of the laws in Canada. I'm not sure of the laws in the state of Florida. I am no attorney or legal professional in any respect. All I know is, at least here in the States, we still do have the First Amendment. And that still has to mean something. In these uncertain times, are we going to make mistakes? Yes, we are. But we are watching. And how we travel through this really will make a difference here. I'm not sure if this is going to go through the courts. I'm not sure if this will just end up being settled. But this is something we need to pay attention to. And I believe the pastor would likely agree with me in this respect, in that piety and good action will help get us through this. History and the Almighty will be the judge. So, my apologies for getting a little bit religious there for folks, but this is just something that folks should pay attention to and just keep in mind, because, yeah, trying times come for trying measures, but at the same time, we all have to be watching, because we are watching. Thank you all for watching. Oh, you see how many times I use the W word? All my English teachers would be so mad at me right now, but hey, peace out everybody, stay safe, and long live the elbow bump.